Yo and hello, everybody. My name is Mike Moynihan, and welcome to BenchClear U, an ongoing and ever-growing video library of sports card educational topics all in one place. We have topics for the brand new collector or the seasoned grizzled veteran collector. Hope you'll check them all out. Now today, I'm going to cover a topic that most people hate talking about, and that's death. I know it might seem morbid, and I know most of us don't even like to think about it, much less talk about it. But guess what? It's going to happen to all of us. And what we do beforehand can make a huge difference for our families. We can either have our collections be a blessing for them or a curse. So let me play out a nightmare scenario for you so that you can maybe understand a little bit about what I'm talking about. Now, you've probably spent decades collecting, accumulating, maybe even hoarding sports cards of your favorite players and teams. In fact, you've done such a great job that your collection is now worth $50,000. And then bam, you get hit by the proverbial turnip truck and die. Now, after a while, your wife finally decides to tackle the collection in the spare room. And really, she doesn't think it's that big a deal. I mean, it's just something you would do as a hobby. And to her, it's a bunch of worthless cardboard anyway. You guys never really talked about value because honestly, you never really wanted her to know how much you were spending. Or you were afraid that if she did know how much everything was worth, then she would make you sell it and take her on that dream vacation to Hawaii she was always talking about. So she decides to take out an ad on Craigslist or Facebook just simply to get rid of everything. I mean, to her, if someone would even offer $1,000, she would be thrilled and she'd get that spare bedroom back. So Johnny Shyster comes along and says that, hey, I'd be happy to help you take all these cards off your hands, help you clean up this space. But they're really not worth that much. He tells your wife this and convinces her to take $500. I mean, what a shame. What a just tragedy that would happen, and what your reaction would be if you were here to see it unfold. And really, how do we keep this scenario from playing out? Well, the answer is simple in concept, but it's way more complicated in execution. But it's have a plan. As a certified financial planner, I've spent my entire career helping people simultaneously plan for multiple scenarios, whether it's saving for retirement, saving for their kids' education, a second home, and even planning for death. It is so important to have a plan. Without a plan, it just all kind of falls apart. Now, for each of us, that plan will look a little bit different, but overall, a solid plan is going to contain several critical components. And I want to go through those now. The first thing is to keep an inventory. And there are a whole lot of ways to make this happen, but having a list of your stuff is really important. And I'm not saying this isn't going to take a lot of time, but it's time well spent. Now, you can use an Excel spreadsheet. You can use a Google Doc. There's a whole lot of online tools such as Trading Card Database where you can inventory your collection. If you have a bunch of graded cards, you can use the PSA inventory tool. PSA will even let you put in non-PSA cards into your inventory, and a lot of people don't know that. The key here is having a list of what you have that is readily accessible so someone doesn't have to kind of rummage through everything and figure out what you have. If possible, really, you also want to have this inventory have current values. That's really, really important too. Next, you should have a trusted hobby friend. And what I mean by that is we need someone with hobby knowledge to help walk your family through this entire process in case of a tragedy. This friend should also be pretty intimately familiar with your collection and what you have. And it's really important that your spouse or loved ones have the contact information of that trusted hobby friend. Their value is tremendous if something was to happen, to come in and just help make things go smoother. Another thing you want to do is you want to really give specific instructions. I mean, if you want people to get certain things, kind of who gets what you want to sell, you really need to spell that out. If you want a certain auction house to be used to sell your stuff, then you need to provide that name, that contact information to whoever it is going to be doing this. The biggest thing is just make a checklist of what needs to happen, in what order, and how you want it to go, and just make sure it's easy to find. The next one's really important. Not that all of them aren't important, but you need to put your collection in your will. And the first step might be to have a will in the first place. That's really, really valuable for your family in case something was to happen. But having a will and having your collection in your will avoid family members fighting over who's supposed to get what. It's going to legally pass on your collection to your heirs, and it's just so much cleaner than just kind of telling somebody and hope that it all works out. Now, whenever you do your will, you really want to make sure that it's always done by an estate planning attorney. Don't use one of those, templates that you can get online. Now, an attorney's probably going to cost you more, but it's going to be done right. And that peace of mind is really, really important. All right. The last one. Talk to your spouse. This might be the hardest thing, but it also might be the most important. You need to have an open and honest dialogue with your spouse. They need to know what values are, what your specific wishes are, what everything is worth, and what you have done to help them if you were to pass away. Show them where the checklist is. Show them where the contact information is. Make sure they see where it's in the will and all this stuff. Just everything needs to be laid out, and you need to put it all out there for your spouse. They need to know what's going on, because there's definitely some work that has to be done on your end to make all this happen. But let me assure you that your effort will be greatly appreciated by your family. Don't leave them hanging out there to dry when Johnny Shyster comes knocking on the door. So thanks everybody for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. Hopefully it was helpful and a good little resource for you. Be sure to check out all the great episodes of BenchClear U on our YouTube channel, which is just BenchClear. We're going to have a great playlist with all the different episodes regarding educational topics for collectors. We've also, we're going to have a lot of these be in print format too, and articles that we post onto our website, which is www.benchclear.us. So again, I hope you really enjoyed this. Let me know what you think down below. Let me know if you have any questions. I'd love to answer them for you, try to help out where I can, and hope you have a great day. Keep collecting.